This is Dan Dix here, reporting for Press for Truth. We have more breaking news today as the Russians have just responded to the airstrikes in Syria that were carried out by Donald Trump. And the Canadian government has also just responded under Justin Trudeau, and this is going to have major implications and repercussions for the future of North America. So today we're going to talk about what these two leaders had to say and how it is we got to this point in the first place. Today, Justin Trudeau issued the following statement. Canada fully supports the United States' limited and focused action to degrade the Assad regime's ability to launch chemical weapon attacks against innocent civilians, including many children. President Assad's use of chemical weapons and the crimes the Syrian regime has committed against its own people cannot be ignored. These gruesome attacks cannot be permitted to continue with impunity. This week's attack in southern Idlib and the suffering of Syrians is a war crime and is unacceptable. Canada condemns all uses of chemical weapons. Canada will continue to support diplomatic efforts to resolve the crisis in Syria. And we're going to look at just what those diplomatic efforts have been. But first, I want to address this statement that Assad's regime carried out chemical weapons attack on its own innocent civilians, including children. Over 5 years ago, in 2012, I reported on this. The fact that Foreign Minister Faisal Madek alleged that the US and its European allies are spreading rumors about Syria preparing to use chemical weapons in order to justify an invasion. Syria stresses again, for the 10th, the 100th time, that if we had such weapons, they would not be used against its people. We would not commit suicide, said Madek. Madek instead alleged that the US and its European allies may have actually given the chemical weapons to terrorist organizations in Syria in order to claim later that Syria is the one that used these weapons. So it's not me saying this. I'm repeating what the foreign minister has said about this, and in fact, it's not just him. Ex-UK ambassador to Syria questions chemical attack. It doesn't make sense. Assad is not mad. And in fact, I lay out on a silver platter the fact that it's the West who are the ones who have been supplying these weapons and arming and funding and training these rebels who carried out these attacks. We pointed this out in our video, We Are ISIS, here is the proof. Now in regards to Trudeau's diplomatic efforts, let's not forget Canada's role here. In February of 2016, we reported on the fact that Canada had pledged over $1 billion to the ongoing fight in Syria and Iraq. And also the fact that Canada is going to triple the number of special forces who are said to be tasked with the objective of training Iraqi forces for at least the next 2 years. And as we pointed out in countless videos that we'll include links to in the description below, training Iraqi forces really just means arming and funding these rebels to carry out these false flag attacks. The country has already allocated a budget of over $1 billion towards the effort. The military missions in Iraq and Syria are going to be extended for another year until March 31st, 2017. And remember guys, that's just last week. There has also been over $800 million promised in humanitarian assistance over the next 3 years. So are you starting to get it yet, guys? This has been in the plans for years now, and Trump is really just the perfect puppet to carry it out. We explained in our video The Truth About Syria that it was Bush who took out Iraq's Saddam Hussein, it was Obama who took out Libya's Gaddafi, and the next leader was going to have his eyes set on Syria, and it didn't matter who that leader was going to be, because at the end of the day, it's the deep state that's in control. I was called a fear-mongerer when I put out this video in October of 2016 titled Post-Election War in Syria with the US and Russia is imminent. And I explained that it doesn't matter who gets in. The secret government is going to carry out their agenda regardless. So it's not fear-mongering, folks. The fact is, the truth is scary. And as this situation continues to escalate, The Russians have now suspended cooperation with the Pentagon following these US airstrikes on Syria. And what that means, folks, is they're not going to hesitate to intervene militarily over Syrian airspace to intercept anything that may cross that line. And meanwhile, Canada thinks it can stop Russian aggression by boosting its involvement in NATO, the very ones who have been surrounding Putin and preparing for everything that we are witnessing today. So I want to stress today that this is an agenda that's been going on for decades. And if you are feeling disillusioned right now with Donald Trump, maybe it's time to realize that he is just a puppet. He always has been just a puppet, just like the one who came before him and just like the one who's going to come after him. But there is good news today, folks. The people are waking up in record numbers, and the masses are no longer believing what they're hearing from the mainstream media, and they're starting to look for alternative sources of information, and that's where we come in. At Press for Truth, we're not left or right. We just want the truth, and we want everyone to have access to that truth. YouTube has recently crushed me financially because of the information that we are presenting here. So I normally don't put out a call for help, but at this time we really do need the support of you, the viewers. So if you can find it in your heart to donate, or better yet, become a PFT patron by contributing a monthly amount, this will enable me the ability to continue to do this work that I am dedicated at doing. I want to continue what I started here, folks, and I hope you'll join me. And thank you to anyone who has contributed to our cause. And stay tuned for more video reports as this story continues to develop. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth.